All right, we are moving on to page 4 in your digital notebook. I have pressed next one more time in your e-text. The first question we are going to look for as we listen to this passage here, what was the purpose of the pyramids? So you'll find that answer in this yellow circled couple paragraphs. And then number 2, when did pyramid building end? You'll find that in this blue paragraph right there. So let's go ahead and listen.
Architecture and art. The Egyptians created temples for their gods and tombs for their pharaohs. The temple complex at Karnak contains the ruins of the world's largest temples, built with massive blocks of stone. These great buildings and the art they contain continue to inspire artists to this day. Why did the Egyptians build pyramids? Tombs of early rulers were underground chambers or rooms. The burial chamber contained items that the ruler might want in the afterlife. An architect named Imhotep designed a new kind of tomb for his pharaoh, with 6 stone mounds, one on top of the other. The result is known as a step pyramid. Later architects made the sides smoother to create a true pyramid, or structure with triangular sides. During the Old Kingdom, 3 enormous pyramids were built at Giza, his son Khafre, and his grandson Menkaure. The largest is the Great Pyramid of Khufu. For nearly 4,000 years, this pyramid was the world's tallest building. Nearby stands the Sphinx, a famous statue. The Sphinx guarded the road to Khafre's pyramid. When they were built, these pyramids were the largest structures on Earth. They were a great achievement. They show Egyptians' command of mathematics and advanced building techniques. Building the pyramids also required the labor of thousands of workers. Workers cut and placed the huge stones by hand. Scholars once thought that slaves had built the pyramids. They now think that many workers were farmers. The great age of pyramid building ended about 2200 BCE. Pharaohs who ruled after that time carved massive tombs from the cliffs at the edge of the Nile Valley. Egypt's massive tombs and temples show that Egyptians valued monuments to the gods, including pharaohs.
All right, I had too much circled here, so I got rid of it. So the answer for number 1, what was the purpose of the pyramids, you're going to find in this 1 2-sentence paragraph. Go ahead and get that now. Number 2, when did pyramid building end? You'll find that answer in this blue highlighted paragraph. All right, we are going to listen to these last 2 paragraphs. The question we're looking for, that's answered in this green paragraph. Why were paintings in tombs created? So you'll find that in this green highlighted paragraph. Let's go ahead and listen.
Painting and sculpture. Egyptians were skilled artists and builders. Much of what we know about life in Egypt comes from paintings on the walls of tombs that show Egyptians at work and at play. Their purpose was not decoration. The paintings were created to provide the person buried in the tomb with all of the objects and pleasures shown on the walls. Egyptian artists also created wonderful sculptures. A sculpture is a statue or other freestanding piece of art made of clay, stone, or other materials. Colossal statues of gods stood in temples. Egyptians placed smaller statues of people in tombs along with their mummies. If a mummy was destroyed, the statue could replace it as a home for the dead person's spirit.
All right, number 3, why were paintings in tombs created? You'll find that answer in this green highlighted paragraph. All right, let's move on to page 5 in our digital notebook. Let's click next in our e-text to get to the next page. All right, I have clicked next one more time, so I've clicked next a total of 3 times. So in this 3D model, it's asking you to slide your, well, I don't think it means finger, but it you can kind of do 3D stuff. So if you get to the back, you can see all these little tunnels and things throughout the inside of the pyramid. So let's look at these questions. What was the name of the largest pyramid ever built? The statue Merit, wife of Maya, a minister of Tutankhamen, dates to about when? When was the Khufu boat discovered? What was the artifact displayed from King Tut's tomb? So all of these answers are going to be in the text here. All right, I had to make this a little bit bigger so that we could actually see the entire writing. All right, so the first one, what was the name of the largest pyramid ever built? Let's go ahead and listen. The Great Pyramid of Khufu is the largest pyramid ever built, incorporating over 2 million stone blocks. Built by the pharaoh Khufu, it contains several rooms. Narrow stairs descend from the entrance to a basement called the subterranean chamber. A narrow ascending passage leads to a grand gallery. The so-called Queen's Chamber may not have been for the queen at all. Instead, archaeologists believe a large statue of the king was placed there. The king's chamber is where Khufu's body once lay. Archaeologists believe that the chamber was built around Khufu's sarcophagus because it is too large to fit through the chamber doors. So in this write-up, go ahead and get the answer to number 1. It's going to be at the beginning of this introduction. Number 2, you're going to find here, this I think I can go back and do this. Okay. Number 2, the statue Merit, wife of Maya, a minister of Tutankhamen, dates to about when? So here we go. The statue from a grave in Saqqara, Egypt, dates to about 1325 BC. Saqqara, once a burial ground of royals from the Old Kingdom, is the oldest cemetery of a unified Egypt. Home to Egypt's first pyramids, it is considered one of the world's largest burial grounds, spreading almost 4 square miles. It spans more than 3,000 years of ancient Egyptian history. It has yielded many important artifacts, although it has not achieved the fame of the Giza pyramids or the Valley of the Kings. So right here, the question is, the statue Merit, wife of Maya, a minister of Tutankhamen, dates to about when? You'll find that answer right in here. The boat. When was the Khufu boat discovered? The pyramids of Giza, the Khufu boat. The Khufu boat, at 143 feet long and 19.5 feet wide, is the largest royal vessel discovered in Egypt. It was found in 1954, buried next to the Great Pyramid of Khufu. It took more than a decade to reconstruct and is now displayed in the Khufu Boat Museum at the south face of the Great Pyramid. Scholars debate the purpose of the boat, whether it was symbolic for Khufu's use in the afterlife or if it was used as one of the boats during his funerary rites. So here's the boat. So again, the question, when was the Khufu boat discovered? You will find that in the beginning of this paragraph. Next, what was the artifact displayed from King Tut's tomb? The discovery, Tutankhamen. One of the greatest archaeological finds in the history occurred in 1922 when the British archaeologist Howard Carter excavated the tomb of Tutankhamen. Although a young and minor pharaoh, his tomb had been untouched for thousands of years and provided a trove of treasures. One example shown here is an alabaster perfume vase. The treasures of Tutankhamun's tomb have provided historians with new insights, fascinating people as they learn about this young person's life through the artifacts of his funerary rites. So in this paragraph, you will find what was the artifact displayed from King Tut's tomb. This is what it looks like, and you'll find the name of it in here. All right, let's move on to the next and last page. All right, page 6 of our digital notebook. The first question, prehistoric Egyptians used what to measure time? You're going to find that answer in this green paragraph. We are then going to look for number 2. What made the Egyptian lunar calendar difficult to use? That's going to be in this yellow circled paragraph. Let's listen.
Science and mathematics. The Egyptians made many great discoveries in science, mathematics, and technology. Later civilizations built on these discoveries. The Egyptian calendar. Like most early peoples, prehistoric Egyptians probably measured time by the cycles of the moon. The result would have been a lunar or moon-based year of about 354 days. Over the years, the seasons would run ahead of such a calendar, since the seasons follow a solar or sun-based year of 365.2422 days. The ancient Egyptians wanted to keep the calendar linked to the seasons to help farmers plan when to plant and harvest crops. They watched for a bright star called Sirius, which would appear above the horizon before sunrise about the same time of year as the Nile floods. Sometimes the first appearance of Sirius came too close to the end of the lunar year, so the Egyptians added an extra month to that year to catch up to the seasons. However, this meant that each year had a different number of days. That made record keeping and planning difficult. So the ancient Egyptians developed a solar calendar with exactly 365 days. They used this calendar for official record keeping. The seasons still slowly shifted through this solar calendar too, so the ancient Greeks added leap years when they ruled Egypt in the 200s BCE. Our modern calendar was modeled after this solar calendar.
All right, number 1, prehistoric Egyptians used what to measure time? You will find that in this green highlighted 2-sentence paragraph. Number 2, what made the Egyptian lunar calendar difficult to use? You will find that in this yellow paragraph. Let's move on to the rest of the lesson here. So, number 3, did the Egyptians understand math, and how do we know this? You'll find that answer in this blue paragraph. And lastly, along with papyrus, the Egyptians also invented what? You'll find that answer in this yellow circle. So let's go ahead and listen to the rest of this lesson.
Mathematics. The ancient Egyptians developed a solid understanding of mathematics. Their ability to construct the Great Pyramids proves their command of arithmetic or addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. It also shows their skill in geometry or the measurement of dimensions. Science, technology, and medicine. Ancient Egyptians also made advances in science, technology, and medicine. As you have learned, the Egyptians knew that the star Sirius first appeared in the early morning sky at the same time of year as the Nile flood. This was part of their advanced knowledge of astronomy, the study of the stars and other objects in the sky. The construction of the Great Pyramids shows the ancient Egyptians' mastery of engineering. No other civilization had been able to plan and build structures so large or so perfectly shaped. The ancient Egyptians also made many of the earliest discoveries in chemistry. These discoveries led to many new inventions. These included the earliest forms of glass, mortar for setting stones and bricks, and many kinds of cosmetics. The Great Pyramids were not the only example of Egyptian engineering. To bring the water of the Nile River to their fields, the ancient Egyptians developed complex systems of irrigation or ways of watering land. The Egyptians had the most advanced medical knowledge of their time. From their work with mummies, for example, they learned much about human anatomy. Anatomy is the study of the structure of the body and its organs. The ancient Egyptians were skilled surgeons. Egyptian doctors also studied diseases and developed effective medicines to treat or cure them.
All right, number 3, did the Egyptians understand math, and how do we know this? You'll find that answer in this blue highlighted paragraph. And lastly, along with papyrus, the Egyptians also invented what? You will find that answer in this yellow circled paragraph.